عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. Today we're going to be covering three names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala: Al-Wahid, Al-Ahad, and As-Samad. The word Al-Wahid, or the name Al-Wahid, means the one. So the word Wahid in Arabic means one, means the one. Referring to Allah, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is unique. His essence is one. He doesn't have any second. He doesn't have any partner. He doesn't have any rivals. He doesn't have any parts. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this sense, is one as a whole. And when we look at Allah being one, it's obviously contrasted with Allah being more than one. So in the story of Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he uses this name, Al-Wahid, to explain a point. He says when he's in prison, he's talking to people who worship other idols, worship other deities. He says, Ya sahib as-sijn, أأرباب متفرقون خير أم الله الواحد القهار. He says, oh, my two companions of the prison. So they're in prison together. So there's two guys that came to him. They're saying, oh, my two prison buddies. أأرباب متفرقون خير, are many lords better? Or أم الله الواحد القهار, or is Allah the one, the overpowering, better? Basically, which one makes more sense to you? There's a bunch of gods that one of them controls the rain and one of them controls the skies, and one of them controls like giving of food and etc. It's like people used to believe that stuff. Saying, is that better, or is it better to just believe that there's one God, one Allah, and He's Al-Qahar, He's overpowering, He can overtake all of those other ones. Somehow all of these are kind of like with each other. Sometimes they fight with each other, sometimes they cooperate with each other. He's making a very simple point. He's like, look, the idea that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one makes much more sense. There's no reason to believe in all these other deities. And that gives Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the name Al-Wahid, He's one. All the people who ascribe that, even when it comes to the concept of the Trinity, God is like three persons, but in one person, or some concept like that. This concept doesn't really make much sense to people. So he's saying, even from a belief perspective, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being one is far superior. The second name is Al-Ahad. And Al-Ahad is very similar to Al-Wahid. But Al-Ahad basically means the only one, or the unique. So there's an added benefit. It's not only is Allah one, but He is the only one, negating any other possibility that could be there. So it means that Allah is the one who He's unique in His essence. He's unique in His attributes, right? There's nothing like Allah. So we say this in a surah which many of us have memorized. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say He is Allah, the one, meaning the only one, right? Or the unique. And then at the end of the surah, we say the same thing again. وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. This is not His name, but it says, and there is nothing like unto Allah. Like there's nothing comparable to Allah in any way, shape, or form. Nothing comes close to Allah. So the word Ahad in the end is used just as an adjective. And the word Ahad is referring directly to Allah in the first verse. And again, this is the most important aspect of Islam. The reason why it's such an important aspect of Islam is because so many people have faltered. So many people have made a mistake when it comes to the divinity of Allah, believing that not only that there's more than one God, or there's more than one person worthy of being worshipped. Even if many people, they don't believe that there's another creator. Most people don't believe that their idols were able to create something, but they believe they have some kind of power, or they believe that there's some benefit in worshiping them. And that is sufficient to negate the divinity, or negate that's what a God is. A God is somebody you worship. It doesn't matter whether you think they created anything. It doesn't matter how much power you think they really have. If you worship them, they're a God. And that's what it means. So we have to be very cautious about this concept. The last name is As-Samad. As-Samad is also mentioned in the same surah. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. Say He is Allah, the One. Allahu Samad. Allah is Samad. What does Samad mean? Samad has two meanings. First one, it means eternal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is eternal. He is forever. He will have no end. And the second meaning is that it means that Allah is the satisfier of all needs. Right? So eternal, if Allah is eternal, He is unaffected. He's unchanged. Nothing can cause a change in His state. He is not bound by time. He doesn't get old. None of those things. And when it says Allah is the satisfier of all needs, it means that basically in the way that He knows best, He can satisfy the needs of everyone else without ever being in need. And that also makes the idea very clear that why would anyone worship someone else or make dua or supplicate to anybody else when Allah is the one who can satisfy everybody's needs in the first place. That's why you call upon Allah. You don't call upon anybody else. So these attributes are all mentioned in the surah. We have Al-Wahid, the one, Al-Ahad, the only one or the unique, and Al-Samad, the eternal or the satisfier of needs. So we'll leave it at that for today. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help us to convey the message of Tawheed, that Allah is one, to the entire world. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us on that belief throughout the rest of our lives. Ameen. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nastaghfiruka Allah wa natubu ilayk.